Hey everyone, welcome back to DIY with Melissa. I am Melissa. I know I haven't showed my face in a couple of weeks, but it's been all hectic around here. So we're doing this as a faceless video, but I will be back next week um, showing you all my lovely face. Today I have a fun project for you. I am creating some envelopes with photographs on the inside of them. So we have the envelope like that, and when it's opened, it looks like that. I think this project is so much fun to create, and I don't know. I just really fell in love with this when I started to create them, and I think that they make for a lovely gift for a loved one for so many occasions. It can be used for anniversaries, weddings, vow renewals, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and then of course Valentine's Day. My husband might be getting 4 cards for Valentine's Day as I have been just playing around with different products to see what works best. And in my opinion, I found the one that works best. So without further ado, we're going to head to the computer so I can walk you through all the steps on how to do this. And then we'll, of course, come back to the craft table and put it all together. Let's head over now. We are back at the computer. We're going to get this project started. It's a lot of fun to do. It's a really simple project to create, and I thought, why not share it with you all? I'm going to give you all my tips and tricks on how to get this, how to create this project with the materials that I use and the tips that I have for it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to search through images for an envelope. The envelope that you want to use is one that has an insert like that. These ones down here will work, this will work, or this. And if you click on this one, there's a few different options that do pop up. So all of these guys will work, and they're so pretty and so decorative. Bring in one that you like, and we're going to start playing around with it. Before we do that, I'm actually going to bring in a photograph of choice. I will just go through quickly how to upload photographs into Design Space. We're going to click on Upload, and we're going to click on Upload Image. We're going to browse. You're going to go to wherever you download or save your images to. If you have it on your computer somewhere, go to that location. If you've downloaded it from a web browser, like Google Photos that you grab your photos from, then it might end up in your downloads folder. Wherever the case may be, grab your photograph from there. And we're going to keep going across until it's on our canvas. It will be a flat graphic because we do want the photograph to actually print. And we'll click on Upload. We're going to resize this. We're going to set it aside for the time being. Now let's work with this card. We want to ungroup this card so that the insert is on its own. This is fine the way it is. We're not going to mess with that. For the insert, we're going to detach. We're going to remove the score line because I tried to score the photograph and I didn't like how the finished product looked. It is scoring this portion. Eventually, this will be glued with the photograph onto the back portion. And we're going to use that score line to fold everything over and have a nice clean fold. If we leave the score line here and we don't get this back onto, we don't glue this portion onto the back portion exactly where the score line is, it can potentially give issues with folding the cover over, and we want everything to be nice and clean. Now that we have the insert ready to go, we're going to bring our photograph on top. And we're going to resize it. But before I continue resizing it, I'm actually going to just take the insert and bring it to the front. That way I can see what it's doing or what it's going to look like, I guess. And that looks pretty good. What you want is it to be flush with the photograph because we will eventually slice the insert and the photograph, and we don't want any overlap hanging here. If you want to see what the photo is going to look like in your insert, we can change this to a pen, and that's what it's going to look like. And I'm not sure if you can see, but I still have a bit of an overlap, and I do not want that. Oh, I think I got it right there. Perfect. Maybe just a touch here. There we go. Perfect. Because I need the insert to use the photograph on, I am going to change this back to basic. And we'll select both the photograph and the insert and click on slice. Once you click on slice, you just want to remove just the excess on top. So I just clicked on the excess on the right side here, and I'm going to hit delete. And I'm also going to grab the photograph, select that, and bring it to the front. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the background, and this is personal preference. I'm going to change it to white. I did like the little extra that's here. That's totally up to you. You don't really need it, but I don't know. It just, to me, finished the card nicely. And um, once the flap was folded upwards, it blocks this anyway, so it really doesn't matter. It's totally personal preference. I'm then going to select all three pieces. So the slice, the little square or rectangle at the bottom, and then the top portion, and I'm going to click on flatten. Our photograph is ready. Make this smaller. We're going to bring it into our card. And there you go. One last thing I forgot to mention before we go ahead and do this or cut this project is the sizing. So you will see that I have some different sizes here for the envelope, and you will see that I did one to fit a 5x7 card. How I do that is before slicing anything out, I leave everything grouped together as it is, as it comes into or onto the mat. And I then resized it here. The way I ensured it's going to fit the card that I have is I just actually created the sample size card that I'm using. I just forgot to unlock my lock there. And I just placed it on the envelope. And I just made the envelope as big as it needed to be to fit the card. So for instance, this is now sitting in that card pretty decent. I will make it a little bit bigger because, it's better to have it a touch bigger than to have it too small. A little bit too big. Size it down. And there you go. So now my 5x7 template is sitting on the envelope perfectly. You may notice that this score line on the top here is not reaching to the end, but as you may remember, I am using this insert to slice the photograph from, and I deleted that score line. So we don't need to worry about that. I will ungroup it and we'll see what the inside looks, and this looks perfect. It's going to score to the size that I need it. So that's how I went about resizing the envelope based on my card size. So if you are creating your cards yourself, this is how you can do it. But even if you are purchasing, like, let's say, thank you cards from your photographer, just ask him or her for the size of the thank you card. It may be in the package information, and just create a little template of your own to add to the envelope to ensure that your card will fit. So without further ado, let's get this going. We are now going to send this to printer. You're going to pick a cardstock of your liking, and I'm going to show you the material I use to print the photograph. I am going to show you. We're going to go across to make and continue and send to printer. I mentioned it in my last video. I'm not sure if you've watched it, but if you haven't, you could add a bleed if you want. You don't have to. A bleed will just ensure that there's no white line on the edge of your photograph. For my own, I did not add the bleed. I printed it as is. So I'm going to go ahead and get this printed. I'm going to meet you back at the craft table, and we're going to put this all together. All right, we have our photograph printed. I just want to show you, it looks like my printer, I think, is giving me some issues, but that's okay. You'll get the gist of it. This paper that I'm using is 30-pound inkjet glossy photo paper. It's extremely thin, almost as thin as regular printer paper, but it does have that glossiness to it. It's really nice. I think it might have been about $20 Canadian for the 100 sheets. And as you can see, with the size envelope I'm doing, we could actually probably fit 2 photographs on the 1 sheet of paper. So that's it for the paper. We're going to get this cut. The other part we have to get cut is the actual envelope. The envelope, of course, is your choice, what you want to use. I use some shimmer cardstock for this one, and it's a smaller version, which will be really cute for a thank you card. I use some Valentine's themed cardstock for this one. This one, these two, I'm using regular printer paper. This is the paper that I just showed you, just to show you the difference in the different options available. I do prefer the photo paper, the thin one, versus the regular printer paper. I feel like there's a big difference with the quality of the look. The last one I use, this could be for Valentine's Day or a wedding or an anniversary, the gold heart. So I grabbed these cardstock packs from Michael's. That's all we have here, really. But of course, you can grab it at Joann's. Actually, I might have grabbed this. No, I think I grabbed these from Michael's. So we have 2 options that I grabbed from Michael's with so many different Valentine's Day themed paper. And then I grabbed these ones from Joann's. This one has the gold foil patterned paper, and there's different ones that you can choose from. This is gorgeous. And this is a wedding day one that I really liked. It's double-sided, so you could actually make your envelope like this, or as I'm going to do, I'm going to add the photograph to it. So if you were going to use this, I would probably suggest getting one that's a little bit more plain at the back, and then using this for the outside, because your photograph will be stuck in here. You don't want it to be too much going on. You want it to look nice and clean. So here's some options that are available. So for instance, this one with the gray, the light gray background, I would recommend using the outside for that. Same with this. This would be better for the inside, while this will be the outside of the envelope. So totally up to you what you want to use. Those are my suggestions. You can decide from there and, you know, play around with it. Maybe it might look good for you. You might like it a lot. So yeah, I would play around with it and make a decision. I think I might actually use this polka dot one because I think it's really pretty. So I'll grab that. Again, this wedding day and the gold and white, I actually got it from Joann's, I believe last year, but it could even be the year before, to be honest. And these ones I grabbed a couple years ago from Michael's. So we're gonna get all of this cut so we can put it together. We'll first do our print then cut project. And you may have heard me say this before, but Cricut recently did this update where the arrow is pointing up as to where you have to cut, or how to lay place your project on your mat, and I really, really like it. I can't tell you, I have in the past accidentally put it the wrong way, and that's really annoying because your cut does not cut properly. So I'm gonna get this cut and I'll be right back. Okay, our photograph is cut, and I don't know, something up there. I just realized after the fact that I forgot to print it, to put up my window for preferences to make sure that I was putting those in glossy paper, but that's okay. Make sure if your printer has that setting, I would highly suggest using it so you don't have any issues with it transferring over to your fingers. I am just going to take this off the mat, and as you may have heard me say, or as you may have heard me say before, I say it all the time, I highly suggest turning your mat around and removing it from the mat, or removing the mat from the project versus the project from the mat. That way you don't have any rolling or bending of your photograph. So next thing I'm going to do is cut the envelope. And as I said, the portion of the envelope you want to be the outside portion. You're going to lay that towards the mat. The inside will be upwards, just like I have here. We're going to use our braying tool and ensure that's on properly, and I'm going to get this cut as well. All right, our project is cut. Of course, I will turn this upside down to remove the mat from the cardstock. So Cricut did score these lines for me. I will just fold over on the score lines. And our photograph is going to sit right here. As you may remember, I did not score the actual photograph. I wanted to ensure there's not going to be any issues with me not being able to line it up exactly where it needs to be lined up on the cardstock. That's just personal preference. You can try it out with the score line, but I really think this came out to be a cleaner look, and I'll show you what I mean. This one here, I scored both the photograph and the envelope, and I hope you can see that. It's not very clean. It kind of gave it a strange way of folding, and even here kind of crumpled up a little bit. This one is the one where I scored only the envelope, and we have a nice clean line right there. So that's just my thoughts on that. But totally up to you what you want to do. I did use the Barely Arts glue to glue this one down, and it is really hard to see on camera. There is a line that is showing here and it's not very clean. So instead I'm using a glue stick to glue the photograph to the envelope. I'm just going to run this around. Put this right into place. And I would say the glue stick is the much better option. And see my fingers? It's because I did not use the right setting on my printer. So now I've made a mess of my photograph, but that's okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue this guy up. I am going to use the Barely Arts glue for this portion. We'll fold this over so now the photograph has a score line. And there you have it. The most adorable little photo envelope ready to give an adorable card to your loved one. Or like I said, it could be a cute idea for thank you gifts for your wedding or vow renewal, whatever the case may be. You know, what a surprise, your loved ones, get your card, open it up, and there you are. I don't know. I am in love with this photo envelope. To me, it is the cutest thing ever. And as you can see, I've done some different sizes of them. So the opportunity is there to be able to create them for all sorts of projects. And you may remember I did the Valentine's Day card. So this was for a 5x7 card. That's how big this one is. So there you have it. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give me the thumbs up, hit that bell button so you're notified when I post new videos, and of course subscribe. To all my new subscribers, I do see you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for subscribing and of course following my DIY journey, teaching you all the tips and tricks so that you can DIY things yourself. Until next time, I hope you have a fabulous week ahead. Take care. Happy crafting. Bye now.